quick impromptu video this morning. I wasn't expecting doing this one quite so soon, but you'll see in front of you a Nexx X.WED 2 crash helmet. Bought myself a new lid. Had it just over a month, but I haven't done much riding in it because I've been away on holiday for a couple of weeks. So really only ridden it over the past sort of week and a half, and unfortunately the lid's going back. And I'll explain why shortly. I bought it brand new from Sports Bike Shop here in the UK, retail at 329 quid from them. Basically because I wanted another ADV style helmet. This fitted the sort of features and price point that I wanted. I like the looks, the reviews seem really good, both on YouTube and when you read them online. And it has got some, on the face of it, got some really good features, plenty of vents. It comes with a pin lock insert for the visor, adjustable peak. You can obviously swap out the side pods on the Nexx, and we're not going to do a full review because other people have done it, but you can swap out the side pods and put stuff on for a GoPro and things. You know, you can even fit their very own sort of tailored intercom. So on the face of it, really good, and I'll go through the things that I like about it first. Obviously the looks, the price point was quite good I think for the feature set. The interior is lovely, I really like that. It's all removable, washable, but it's, well, the main thing is it's very comfortable. Considering this for me is a medium, it's a 57 to 58, and normally, as per my other videos, in a medium I prefer a 56 to 57. But of the helmets that are 57 to 58, this is one of the better ones I've had. It really fits well, no pressure points. I have fitted, you get a set of little pads with it when you get this lid, so I have fitted those just to sort of tighten up the fit a little bit inside. But it does fit really well. It's comfortable, it doesn't feel too baggy or anything like that. So that is quite a good point, and you know, Nexx have really thought about stuff. You get a bag of accessories. You can swap out this chin vent for a perforated one which is completely open. You've got a peak extension which I tried and didn't like, but all sorts of good stuff that you get with the lid as sort of standard. So why don't I like it? Well, several reasons. The first one being the vents. This chin vent opens that way, you can see, and with this chin vent on I can't feel any cool air coming through at all. I can with the perforated one when it's completely open, you get a little bit, but not so much with this one. The vents on the top, you get two here, slide open, and there's another one under the peak which again slides open and shut, and no matter which combination I've used, having those open either all together or one at a time, can't notice any cool air coming through. So whether I've got a Duff helmet or not, I'm not sure in that respect, but considering there's other reviews saying how good the venting is, I'm really not impressed, and I can't notice any cool air coming through. And when I compare it with the Shoei Neotech, with one single vent on the top, and you really can feel a blast of cool air coming through that. This is not a patch on that, unfortunately. It has a drop-down tinted visor inside, and this is the second thing that I'm not keen on. Initially, it was really sticky. It would come down wonky, so this side would stay further up, so you've got a wonky line. You have to sort of pull it down. As I've used it, it's smoothed off a little bit, and it does drop down pretty smooth now and pretty level. However, when it's in use, even in normal weather, it doesn't have to be cold weather because we've had quite a decent summer so far. If I breathe out any more than a normal breath, so you know, a big sigh or anything like that, or a big exhalation, it steams up straight away. The visor doesn't. That's got a pin lock insert, which is brilliant, but this does. It steams right up. But the main thing that I don't like about it is where it sits. This bottom edge, for me, sits right in the line of sight for my clocks, the speedo, etc. on my bike, and it gives me a distorted picture. I have to move my head basically. No big deal, you might say, but for me, it's not good enough. you know, it didn't happen on the show in Airtech. So this one I think could do with being a little bit bigger. There's room in the lid because of this lower chin bar for it to drop down further. It doesn't touch my nose because it sits quite far off your face. So there's room for it to drop down further without a doubt, which would solve the issue, but obviously that would mean a redesign of the lid. So for me that's a big sort of minus point, unfortunately, because otherwise I quite like drop down visors, they're really useful. The biggest point for me, which is the main reason I'm going to send it back, is that there's a fault, but I'll come on to that in conjunction with the peak. I do like the peak. It's adjustable on the top, so you've got a thumb screw there, so it can adjust forwards and back. There's quick release levers on the sides, which means that you can undo these and swap out the visor while the peak's in place, which is quite a good system. It is a little bit fiddly getting the visor back on with the peak still sort of semi in place, but it's certainly better than the system on the RI2X4. It's certainly more quick release. The two main issues with the peak for me is the first one is buffeting. Again, this is something that you're never going to find out unless you ride a bike with the helmet on, at which point you can't send it back, unfortunately. It might not be the case for everybody. We're all different shapes and sizes, we all have different bikes, but on my Tiger Explorer I've tried various positions of the screen. No matter what I try, I get some sort of buffeting, whether it's wind lifting the visor up. More often than not, it's actually wind pushing the visor down, because of my head position. When you sit on a bike, you don't sit like that anyway, your head sort of tilts that way a little bit. It's natural to do that. And certainly if I have the visor in the forward position, it's just when you get on the dual carriageway or motorway up to sort of anywhere above 60 really, certainly at normal cruising speeds of between 70 and 75-ish, it pushes down so much that it then pushes the helmet down on your head, which makes it uncomfortable. And again, I'm not too fussed about the fact that when you turn your head it might catch it. Yeah, it's going to do. It's like a bloody, you know, it's a sail on the top of your helmet, isn't it? Even with all these little sort of spoiler and holes and stuff. But for it to just push down so badly, even in the back position, it's not something that I would want to put up with. Unfortunately, if you do that and you find out you don't like it on the bike, as I say, because you've worn it, you can't really send it back unless you're going to tell some big fibs. So I would have had to put up with that. However, there's been a fault with mine in that this screw here has failed. It's failed twice now. This is the third one. You get a spare one of these in the set. And when I initially got it, this is supposed to be hand tightened, or I think it is, even though it's got a slot in there for an Allen key. It was so tight that I had to use tools to get it off initially. It was some sort of compound in there to, whether it was Loctite or something similar, to hold it in, and until you break the seal, that is, it won't unscrew properly. Not on this helmet that I had anyway. Once I'd done that, it seemed fine, I just hand tightened it, but then the other week I wanted to adjust the visor, because I got it in the forward position. I wanted to adjust it back, so I went to unscrew it with my thumb and fingers obviously, and it just sheared off completely. It left some of the screw inside, which I managed to get out. Phoned Sports Bike Shop up, who were great, and said we'll try and get a spare for you. In the meantime, I found a spare in the packet anyway, and fitted that. This is actually the spare that came from Sports Bike Shop now. This is the third one, because yesterday the other one failed again in the same way basically. And the problem is, when it fails, or if it fails when you're riding, this becomes loose. These won't hold it completely steady, and when it comes forwards, it drops down almost into your line of sight. If it goes down too far, these will just pop off completely and you'll lose it on the road, which is a safety issue for me. So I've basically got myself a bit of a get out of jail free card, for sending this back, because otherwise if this hadn't failed I wouldn't be able to send it back because I've worn it. What am I going to replace it with? I'm unsure at the minute. I'm erring towards the new Climb Krios, or Krios, however you want to pronounce it. Similar sort of thing, doesn't have a drop down visor, but I like Climb gear. The reviews on that seem good. Big bonus for me with that is the medium is a 56 to 57, so fit should be even better. But we'll see. I've got to jack up a return first for this one to Sports Bike Shop, see what they say. Albeit they've already hinted that if I lose confidence with it because of the initial screw failure, that I would be able to send it back to them. So we'll sort that out and move on to the next lid. It's a real shame. I really wanted to like this lid. I love the way it looks. You can get a black visor for it if you want. It fits, as I said, it fits pretty well for me for a medium 57, 58. I am a 57. Most 57, 58s feel a bit baggy, but this one doesn't. It fits really well. It looks great. On the face of it, it's got some cracking features. I think Nexx just need to tighten up on their quality control, and perhaps tweak some of the features a little bit, such as the drop down visor and perhaps the peak. But as I say, this is personal. I mean, some people have said that they've got no buffeting at all with the peak. The same people who say the vents are awesome. So maybe I'm just unlucky, but we'll see. So there you go, some sort of thoughts on a Nexx X.WED 2. My thoughts on it. It's not really a proper review as such, but mainly some of the things I like and some of the things that I don't like, and the reason why I'm sending this one back. Click like if you like it, click unlike if you don't like it. but either way, I hope that somebody somewhere has got something out of the video, just some pointers. It just reinforces the fact really that helmets are a very personal thing. They'll fit one person and not another. Some people will like the features, and others they might not work for them. So things to bear in mind before you buy the X.WED 2. Potentially a cracking lid, mine isn't. All the best, ride safe, I'll see you.